Three fake HOA cops punched my daughter on our own property. They thought I was just a quiet guy mowing lawns. What they didn't know, I'm a combat veteran, and I don't play games when it comes to family. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see who stands against bullies like this. We bought this house 3 years ago. Corner lot, double garage, neat hedges. Nothing fancy, but it felt like home. My daughter Lena had always wanted a place where she could garden, breathe, and finally find peace after her mother passed away. Losing my wife to cancer nearly broke us both. So this home wasn't just a purchase, it was our new start. The neighborhood looked calm and polite. People waved from driveways, kept to themselves, and nobody caused trouble. That's why I liked it. I'm not the kind who brags about service or demands respect. I did 12 years in the infantry, 2 tours overseas, and came back with scars and stories I don't tell at cookouts. All I wanted was peace. At first, the HOA seemed harmless, just routine newsletters, gentle reminders about bins and lawns. Then, everything changed when Olivia Thompson became president. She was the kind of person who confused power with purpose. Within weeks, she rolled out new rules, surprise inspections, and even what she called HOA enforcement officers. That's when things got weird. These weren't guards. They weren't even licensed security. They were just three guys in matching polos, fake radios, and clipboards, swaggering around like they were tactical units. They called themselves HOA cops. I caught them peeking through fences, taking photos of driveways, and once even trying to open a backyard gate. It wasn't enforcement, it was harassment. Still, Lena and I ignored them until that morning. I was on a Zoom call when I heard yelling outside. Sharp, angry, wrong. I stepped onto the porch and froze. Lena was backed up against our car, surrounded by those three men. One had a clipboard, another was waving an HOA pamphlet in her face, and the third, the biggest one, had already stepped too close. They were ranting about unauthorized hanging baskets, calling it a safety violation. Lena tried to explain. They didn't want to hear it. Then it happened. One of them punched her. Not hard, but hard enough. Her eyes went wide, shocked, hurt. I dropped my phone and walked down that porch like I was back in Fallujah. The way those three men stood there, hands on hips, barking orders, sent me straight into a place I hadn't been in years. Calm, focused, ready. "Sir, back away from the scene," one of them barked, trying to sound like a real cop. "Scene?" I said, stepping closer, my voice low. "Buddy, you just made one. Wrong daughter, wrong driveway, wrong damn veteran." I didn't raise my voice or puff my chest. I just kept walking toward them, calm as a storm before it hits. "Step away from my daughter," I said, quiet but solid. The clipboard guy, short haircut, too much confidence, chuckled, acting tough. "Sir, this is official HOA enforcement. She was uncooperative." He barely finished that sentence before I caught his wrist mid-gesture and twisted, sharp and clean. His body folded just enough for the clipboard to hit the ground with a slap. He howled, clutching his wrist. The second one, bigger, meatier, the type who talks with his chest, stepped in, puffed up like a rooster. "You just assaulted an HOA officer," he shouted. "That was your first mistake," I said. Before he could blink, my elbow connected with his chin, clean, heavy, direct. He dropped like a bag of wet cement. One hit, lights out. Lena screamed my name, not out of fear but warning. I spun just in time to catch the third guy behind me swinging wild. I ducked, pivoted on my heel, and drove my knee straight into his ribs. You could hear the air leave his lungs. He collapsed, gasping on the concrete like a fish out of water. These weren't trained men. They were neighborhood punks playing soldier, dressing up in fake vests that said HOA cop like it meant something. Two groaned on the ground. The third stumbled back, red-faced, panicking. He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police," I smiled. "Good. I've been waiting for this moment." He froze when I said it. I'd already filed 2 written complaints about these guys harassing neighbors, especially women, home alone. Nobody did anything. Olivia, the HOA president, laughed it off when I brought it up, but I had video, security footage. Lena had turned on the driveway camera the second they walked up. When the real officer pulled up, I recognized her immediately. Officer Janowitz. We'd trained together years ago, back when she was still a private. She stepped out, looked at me, then at the scene. 3 groaning men sprawled out on my driveway. I nodded. She nodded back. "Want to tell me what happened?" she asked, calm but knowing. Lena showed her the footage, clear audio, perfect angle, the shove, the yelling, the fake enforcement, the first punch, and then my response. Officer Janowitz turned to the guy still conscious. "You just assaulted a civilian on private property, then got folded like laundry by a veteran in self-defense. You still want to press charges?" His face crumpled. He didn't say a word. That's when Olivia Thompson, the HOA president, screeched up in her SUV and jumped out waving papers. "This is HOA business," she barked. Janowitz didn't even blink. "No, ma'am. This is a criminal investigation." I stepped closer, looked her dead in the eyes, and said quietly, "You send men to touch my daughter again, and I'll file federal." The story spread like wildfire. By sunset, someone had posted the footage online. Title: Fake HOA Cops Attack Veteran's Daughter, Get Folded by Her Dad. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. The story spread faster than fire through dry bush. By sunset, someone had already posted the driveway footage to the local neighborhood forum. Within hours, the comments section exploded. People who'd kept silent for months began sharing their own stories. Harassment, fake fines, unauthorized entries, threats. Turned out those same HOA enforcers had bullied half the neighborhood. The next morning, two of the three men were served restraining orders. The third, the one who punched Lena, was officially charged with assault and battery under Penal Code 240 and impersonation of a peace officer. The sheriff's office publicly confirmed that HOA enforcement wasn't a real law enforcement entity and that no such position legally existed. The police gathered every piece of footage, the body cam, my home cameras, even clips from neighbors' phones. I made sure my written account was included. Calm, factual, detailed. No dramatics, just the truth. Meanwhile, I filed a civil suit. Trespassing, harassment, assault, and emotional distress. We weren't after money. We wanted accountability. Proof on record that these fake cops weren't above the law. Olivia, the HOA president, panicked. She called an emergency HOA meeting. I didn't attend, but Lena did. She walked in with Officer Janowitz from the sheriff's office right beside her, a folder full of printed testimonies in her hand. When she stood before the room and began reading, the place went dead silent. She spoke about the intimidation, the bullying, the constant violations of privacy. Then she read a statement from a single mother down the street, how those same fake enforcers threatened to fine her for having her baby's stroller on the porch. That broke the room. People stood up, voices rose, some shouted for Olivia's resignation. Others demanded to see financial records. Within minutes, the entire HOA meeting fell apart. Olivia tried to calm the crowd, but no one was listening anymore. By evening, the HOA board was disbanded and a county auditor took control of their financials. Guess what? Dozens of enforcement fines had gone missing. No records, no receipts, just cash. Every dirty secret buried under fake authority had come to light. The third guy was sentenced to 21 months in county jail, fined $7,500, and ordered to complete 200 hours of community service for the impersonation charge alone. The court also ruled that all three men were to stay at least 300 feet away from our family and property for 5 years. The HOA itself was fined $25,000 for negligence and unauthorized enforcement practices, a legal first in our county. That night, Lena and I sat on the porch, sipping tea under the quiet hum of streetlights. She looked over, smiled faintly, and said, "You didn't even break a sweat." "I told you," I said. "I may mow lawns now, but I'm still that dad when I have to be." And that's how it ended. The lies exposed, the fake cops gone, and our home finally at peace again. What do you think, folks? Ever stood your ground against fake authority? Tell your story below. I read every single one. The end.